everyone, welcome back to my channel. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So I wanted to share a version 2 of my noise brush pack. This is a noise brush pack that I've launched some time ago that is supposed to create dreamy textured paintings that can be soft and also sharp at the same time. So it can create effects like light fragments like this, shards of light like this with sharp texture contrasted with soft blurry textures, translucent layers of fabric and also hair, and you can also overlay textures like this. So this is also a very simple painting that can be done with this brush pack because this is done using only one brush. And you can also create artwork like this that is blur and sharp in different areas as well. So I've decided to revamp this brush pack to handle most of the paintings that I'm working on right now. And you can also create artwork like this as well that looks pretty finished and not very blur. So it's really up to you how you want to use this new brush pack. Oh, remember that if you own this brush pack, you can actually download this update for free. And if you don't own this brush pack, you can just get them from my website to try them out and see if you like it. So the nature of this brush pack is all about textures, soft and grainy ones, and also sharp outlines as well. So it's not the kind of brush pack where you actually just have a sketch. And then usually we would get a brush, the chalk brush, and then I would just slowly fill in. And if I want to shade, I just pick a shade and start shading. So one thing that you can notice with this workflow is that it gives you unpredictable textures, which is what we do not want. So this is a workflow that is not suitable for this brush pack. We want gradients that is soft, that flows into each other without being very obvious at all. And I'm saying this now that even though I have some brushes that you can create artwork in this workflow, you shouldn't use this brush pack this way. So the workflow that is suitable for this brush pack is a paint and carve workflow. I would just pick any color, it does not really matter. I would actually just drop it down first. You can see here I have textures already. And then I will just erase to carve it out. And the reason why I suggest that you carve this out with an eraser is so that you are retaining the textures and you are also introducing new ones near the edges. Like for example, if I turn this off, you can see that I have some textures here near the edges already, and this actually makes the artwork a lot more spontaneous and less stiff. So all these areas you can just cut through first and then you can just repaint it all over again. The whole idea is not to be very tight so that it has textures everywhere. Followed by the alpha lock workflow. So you just alpha lock this, pick a brush that you like to start coloring it. So let's say this flower is pink, so let's put it pink first, and then I would put various shades of pink, change brushes and drop in new textures this way. So the whole idea is to lock the shape in so that you can keep dropping in different textures and different colors as well, as long as they head towards the main goal of a certain color or gradient that you're going for. You can use any brush you like as long as it gets you to where you want to be. So once you have a layer that you like, you can just stop working and go to the third workflow, which is creating a new layer and setting it to clipping mask. So this is where you continue adding more shapes and textures. So for example, I can just start adding a flower head and then I can continue to carve that because I'm already on a new layer. I'm not affecting the layer below. And you will keep working like this, layer by layer by layer, until you arrive at a result that you like. So now I'm going to go over all the brushes in this new version 2 of the Noise Brush Pack. Sketching, we would have the Natural Sketch and Smudge Brush. This is like my all-time favorite brush, and you can just sketch with it and draw and write, and if you tilt your Apple Pencil, you will start to shade this way. And also a cool thing to notice is when you go over and over again, it will start to fade out. So this sketch brush here is meant to be a ghost layer. So this layer was actually created with the natural sketch and smudge brush, and at the end of the day, this layer is not visible at all. So the brush marks made by this brush is meant to be deleted at the end of the day. If you want to touch up something here with the sketch brush, you would use the noisy sketch and smudge brush. So this brush gives you more textures this way if you do it lightly. So this will actually retain and add more textures compared to the other sketch brush. You can also use the chalk brush if you want a little bit more texture, but try not to use the chalk brush for everything because it's going to end up very splotchy like what I just said. Okay, now let's talk about paint and carve brush combos. So the first combo is the dry square brush with the rig brush. So dry square brush in your brush and rig brush in your eraser. Dry square brush, this brush is rotation sensitive. So notice when I'm painting this way, it's this shape, but if I rotate and I go the same direction, it is actually thinner. So if you want, you can actually just rotate to sketch something thickly, or you can actually rotate to make it thin as well, so it behaves like a brush. So use this brush to just quickly lock down a shape and then carve it out with the rig brush to get rough edges. So this is combo one. Another combo is to use the nickel roll brush with the rig brush. So this brush is not rotation sensitive, so you get thick brush strokes no matter how you rotate your Apple Pencil, and it gives you chunkier textures as well. Alternatively, instead of using the rig brush to erase, you can also use any of the square brush to erase, or use a spray brush like this one. So I can use it this way. Another cool combo is this one. This is a very cool brush, so because if I paint it, I start getting glitter textures and burnt marks as well. So it's good if like you are trying to create things that are glittery to create your initial shape. So now I'm actually using a nickel roll brush to erase, but the nickel roll brush is very chunky when it erases, so it's hard to get the edge that I want. So you can just experiment with other square brushes if you want something that is softer, like this is using the dry square brush instead. This painting is done just using the nickel roll brush for both paint and carve, which is why you see these sharp edges here, because it doesn't erase very well and it's very chunky. Even the coloring is extremely chunky. It's hard to get like good smooth gradients, but this is the style of the brush. Once we have our shape done, I would just draw in the correct color first. So usually at this stage, I would use the spray brush. So we have 3 working spray brush here. One is Fat Boy, very fine and smooth. It's so soft, but fine here has fine textures. So I love to use medium. Fat medium is like super grainy. I love this. And as you go up, Wrap has even more and it's super sharp. The textures is really sharp. So we will actually just build our modeling using these brushes. So I'm going to demonstrate the tree. So the tree shape looks like this in red, and we are just going to build on top of it with the gradients. So the first thing to do is to make a new layer and make sure it's on clipping mask, and then after that I would want to drop a color in first. So I love to work with fat medium, so I'm just going to pick a color and drop it in first. See how it retains the red? You can actually just choose to leave it like that and then just start dropping in textures and different colors as I go. Then right here, I think it should be darker, and shift it to green, a slightly green color. But I'm not very happy with how the textures is like repeating. So I'm gonna undo and try a new brush. So I'm gonna use the Fat Nebula brush. this is a great brush for dropping in textures. So you can see it's really beautiful here. And just make it darker a little bit. And try the Fat Tone brush. The Fat Tone brush is a half tone brush, gives just a hint of it. Then I can just layer repeatedly for the diffuse look. So this is my second layer of 3 leaves. And I'm just going to make sure that I have a new layer and set it to clipping mask as well. And then first, I'm just going to go with Fat Fine this time. Now you see here, there is a huge contrast of textures. Let's try the Nickel brush. Just very light strokes so that I can just give like a hint of color or textures. So it's a very fun brush pack this way, in the sense that you can use any color you like and it's not gonna be wrong. So that's the good thing about this brush pack. It is not a brush pack that is very rigid like my Impasto brush pack. That one is like super technical and you need to know what you're doing in order to use it. So at the end of the day, this is what I have. This is the tree that I have. Now, the new brush that I'm very excited about is called the Side Shader. So I have 3 side shaders. Okay, let's talk about the most basic one first. This is also rotation sensitive. All 3 of them are rotation sensitive. So now I am going to go right, but my pencil is facing down. So this is what I get. I get a sharp line where my tip is, and then the fade at the bottom. Okay, but if I go this way, my fade is this way. Always remember this is sharp and it fades towards the end of the pencil. So if I go this way, it gets like that. So this is very good for shading and modeling shapes. Like I can just easily do a brush flower this way. So I can get this effect because I was rotating my entire wrist the entire time. If I don't do it, this is what I get. So everything is facing one direction. Actually, it looks kind of cool. So the other brushes, like the Side Shader Noise, is exactly the same thing. It's just that it's grainy. And this one is the Wisp. It gives you like smoke effect and translucent fabrics. So it's very thin and you can use it to do like curtains or cloud trails. So now I'm going to show you how I use the Side Shader brush. Let me show you how that works. First, make sure that your size is correct, like this is too big. Just make sure it's big enough for your shading. So what I like to do is use the paint and carve method with this brush. So like this. So for this side, I'm going to make my brush smaller. So I intentionally went into this outline so that I could just erase that. You can see how quick it is. Shade is so fast. I'm just like resizing it to control the size of the shadow. There you can see it's so fast. I'm almost done modeling it already. So I can just quickly color it in, get a new layer and shade that as well. It's all about knowing where the sharp edge is so that you can manipulate the brush direction. So in the end, this is what I have, but with a lot more subtle gradients. So I used the same brush when I was painting the face. Like I can literally show you, like because I'm picking colors from my finished artwork here, I can really just be so fast. So if you notice here, the edge is sharp on this side, so I can just rotate my brush and get it that way. And I can make a new layer, make it this way. You just have to get used to using the brush. So because I already have this shape here, I can alpha lock it. I can pick this color and get the shading that I want. Then I can just quickly drop in my face shading here. See, that was just like one brush stroke. So now would be a good time to talk about the smudge brushes that I have in this pack. So if you scroll all the way to the top, there is 4 smudge brushes. You can also use any of the spray brushes if you want a very smooth blend. But if you want a cross hatch blend, this is what you will get. And you can also use the halftone smudge, which gives you a halftone kind of texture. This is a usual smudge which I don't recommend using in this brush pack. It is just there in case you need it. And the Noisy Sketch and Smudge Brush is a very versatile brush in case you just need like chalk textures. Also, a great tip is that you can use your smudge brush to push paint around to form shapes. Alright, so now I have this shape already. So now that the shape is locked in, I can continue to use this brush or other brushes to change the colors within the shape. So I can use the flat medium brush and drop in the blusher, gray areas, and I need a sharp edge, so I'm going to use the side shader again. Zoom in real close and just shade out like that, for a slight mid-tone here. Drop the size for the shading. Carve the eye out. One stroke. Get it done right the first time. And then for the lips, it's super satisfying to do. And all I need to do is just lock this and drop in the colors. And then just drop in the outline in order to finish up the artwork. So for outlines, I usually use the Noisy Sketch and Smudge Brush. So the side shader brush is extremely useful when it comes to shading the portrait. Now we are going to talk about the highlights brushes. So in this picture, there is a lot of highlights in the sense that I use the highlights brush a lot. So the brush that I used the most was called the Highlight Speckles brush. So this brush actually drops in random glitter that you can't really control. Like you see this? And this is all using the same brush. So if I paint with blue, this is what I get. So for this picture, let's say I shift to pink a little bit. So I can just lightly go over and shift this to blue. Notice how it just randomly gives you like speckles, whether you like it or not. I'm not pressing hard at all. If I press hard, this is what I'm gonna get. If I press lightly, I get a very gradual kind of result that is pretty random. So I get something like this. So this is how I keep layering, and there is so many colors even within one shape, because I'm actually painting within that shape with different textures, different colors, different various brush settings. But when it comes to highlight, this highlight was done using the Style Bristle brush. So this also gives you random line results that is super sharp. It's so sharp and grainy, and you can't miss it anywhere because it's such a huge contrast to the blur artwork. If you want a more subtle highlights brush, let's say we want to add highlights to this painting, right? I would recommend that you use the 3D highlights brush. So this is a brush from my Pastel brush pack. So let's say I want to have a highlight here. So I'm just going to go white for the highlight and then go to the second slot. This is going to be my vibrant pop color. So let's look at the face. So the face is like this. A vibrant pop color can be the red, can be the orange, can be the pink. So let's try all three. So you pick your colors, make sure your white is in one and then your vibrant color is in the second one. You paint with your vibrant color. You don't paint with white. So look, this highlights has a slight pink outline, which is what we want. So if I want things to be a lot more pop, I can use orange and it would look like that. So the more vibrant it is, the more it will stand out. Like this is very suitable to be painted here. Like you see, there is a harsh outline that is almost unnoticeable, but it makes the highlight very juicy. That way, you can also change it to yellow. See, it's super juicy because it has like an outline if I want my highlights to be there, I think pink would be the best. And this way we get 3D highlights. There we go. So this painting was actually done with the old version 1 brush pack, and you look at the hair, there wasn't a lot of variant in terms of textures. So I moved all my hair brushes into this brush pack as well. So we have like 4 hair brushes, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we always want to start with a shade first. So let's say this is my shade of my hair. The next brush to use is the hair flat brush, which gives us like a flat hair like this. So this brush is also rotation sensitive. So if I paint it this way compared to this way or different directions, it gives me different results. So now let's use this brush to detail the hair. So this brush is for modeling the shape of the hair. Okay. And then the next brush to use is the hair waves brush. So this hair waves brush actually gives you a very nice wavy hair. So we create brushes in order to save time, and this is one of the many brushes that is really time saving. And after that we have the hair fine brush. This is the next brush to use. So this is a lot more hair and a lot more dense and fine. So usually I would use this brush for eyebrows. This is quite good for eyebrows. So you can just quickly block in eyebrows here and fill in the rest with strands. But bear in mind that all these hair brushes has to be done on modeled hair. Like right now it looks a bit off already because this part actually does not have hair in this color. It's supposed to be a lot darker. I'm just using like the color so that you can see the results. You have to get your shapes down first before you work with these brushes, because these are considered effects brushes. The last hair brush to use is the hair strand brush that finishes everything off because it's just one strand. This is a very easy brush to use in the sense that it really listens to you. So it does what you want without fighting back like most of these sketch brushes out there. So you can easily just get like lines like that without much effort. So these are the hair brushes. The last brushes in the brush pack are the style brushes. We have Chaos. This brush just gives chaos. I needed this brush because I wanted a brush that can create textures suitable for stone surfaces and surfaces that has very random textures like this one. So this was actually done this way. I had a background color and then the shadow color goes like this. So I wanted a very random texture that looks like stone. So I used the Style Chaos brush to paint them in like this. Basically the texture brushes in this brush pack is super sharp. Like it really gives a very punchy look. Like this is lines that are very random. You can use it to really drive like the texture in. The Style Round brush actually gives a canvas texture. So if you want canvas texture, you can just use this brush to paint over your painting like this way. You can see that there's a canvas texture here. Well, that's it. I hope you like the update for this brush pack. There's a lot of new brushes. Previously, I think I launched with 16 brushes and now it is 27 brushes if I'm not mistaken, and it's just packed full with textures. Like from far it may look very simple and flat, but once you get close, the amount of textures is insane. Yeah, so this is what I was going for because I wanted to have a blur output of my artwork and then layer on top with impasto, which I've yet gotten to that stage yet. So that will be coming up soon. Alright, that's all folks. I'll see you next time. Alright, that's all. Bye!